Have you ever wondered about that smile? Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something important. Have you ever been walking through a cafe, a grocery store, or even just down the street and caught the fleeting smile of a younger woman directed toward an older man? At first glance, it seems simple. A polite gesture, a social courtesy, nothing to think twice about. Or is it? You see, most men, especially those who have crossed into the later stages of life, dismiss that smile as meaningless. They tell themselves it's just good manners, that nothing deeper could possibly be meant by it. After all, society has spent years whispering and sometimes shouting that their time has passed, that their value has diminished with every birthday candle blown out. But what if I told you that a small smile carries far more meaning than you realize? What if that seemingly casual glance is actually a window into something ancient, something primal? A silent acknowledgement of a strength, a presence, a wisdom that modern culture has tried so hard to erase, but that human nature still honors instinctively? Today we're going to uncover a truth that many older men have forgotten, or maybe were never even told. A truth about what a younger woman really sees when she offers that simple, powerful smile. And if you're a man who's ever doubted whether you still matter in this fast-moving world, stay with me. Because by the end of this, you might just see yourself and your worth in a way you haven't in years. Before we dive into this powerful truth, if you believe, deep down, that a man's value doesn't fade with time, but deepens with experience, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Because here, we don't celebrate youth for its own sake. We celebrate strength, wisdom, and resilience. The things that only time can build. Number 1, the truth behind the smile. At first glance, a smile from a younger woman toward an older man seems harmless, almost incidental, like a wave in a crowded room or a polite nod in passing. But the truth is, there's often much more happening beneath the surface. In a world flooded with noise where appearance often outweighs substance, a genuine smile is rare enough. And when it is directed at a man who has seen decades of life, endured battles both public and private, and carried the invisible weight of years with quiet dignity, it is not a meaningless gesture. It is, in many cases, a silent acknowledgement. A recognition not of wealth, not of status, but of stability, of strength, of wisdom earned through living, not simply learning. The modern world has tried to drown out these instincts, telling both men and women that only youth is worthy of attention. It shouts that relevance has an expiration date, that after a certain point, a man becomes little more than background noise. But human nature remembers. Deep within us is an ancient wiring, one that no culture, no technology, no fleeting trend can erase. Women, especially those still carving their path in a chaotic world, are drawn not merely to ambition or flashiness or noise. They are drawn to something deeper, to roundedness, to a man whose presence says without words, "I have walked through fire, Drome, and I still stand." A younger woman's smile, then, often speaks what she herself may not fully realize. "I see you. I feel your steadiness. In a world that feels uncertain, you are a fixed point." And yet, tragically, most older men miss this. Conditioned by years of cultural messaging that told them they are fading into irrelevance, they see the smile but not the meaning behind it. They dismiss it just as they have been taught to dismiss their own worth. But the truth is powerful and liberating. That smile is not about politeness. It is not about obligation. It is about recognition. Recognition of something rare. Something that even in a rapidly shifting society cannot and will not ever go unnoticed. Number 2, what women truly sense. Women, especially younger women, are often painted as creatures of fleeting desires, chasing novelty, excitement, and superficial charm. But anyone who looks deeper knows that beneath the surface, something older, something wiser is always at work. Women are not just observing how a man looks. They are feeling how a man stands in his own life. A younger woman may not be able to articulate it. She may not consciously say, "That man carries himself with earned wisdom." But her instincts, thousands of years of survival instincts, tell her something important. This man is steady. This man knows himself. This man will not crumble when the storm comes. She senses it in his posture, the way he moves through the world without rushing to impress. She hears it in his voice, calm, measured, no need to dominate or shout to be heard. She sees it in his eyes that have seen loss, triumph, betrayal, love, and that carry all of it without bitterness. It's not about physical strength alone, although presence often shows through a man's body too. It's about the kind of strength that cannot be faked, the strength that comes from decades of victories and defeats, from heartbreaks endured and lessons paid for with real pain. A man who has cultivated resilience, emotional, psychological, and spiritual, radiates an energy that no trendy charm can imitate. He becomes an anchor in a world full of driftwood. And when a younger woman smiles at such a man, it is not because he fits some checklist of superficial attributes. It is because something deep within her recognizes something deep within him. A lighthouse does not chase ships. It stands firm, and those lost in stormy seas seek its light. Likewise, an older man who carries the weight of his years with grace and quiet authority doesn't need to chase attention. His mere presence becomes a silent invitation and a silent reassurance. This is what women truly sense. Not perfection, not flashiness, but stability, wisdom, the unspoken strength of a life lived fully and courageously. Number 3, the dangerous lie modern culture tells older men. Somewhere along the way, a dangerous lie took root in modern culture. A lie whispered through advertising, media, even casual conversations. The lie says, once you pass a certain age, your worth diminishes. Your wisdom is outdated. Your presence is no longer needed. Step aside. Make way. It's subtle at first. The younger generation is celebrated as it should be. But then the celebration becomes worship. And the elder is quietly pushed into the background, his accumulated experience treated not as treasure, but as dead weight. Over time, many older men begin to absorb this message, not realizing it's poison. They look in the mirror and no longer see the fighter, the builder, the protector they once were. Instead, they see a man who believes his best days are behind him. And when that belief settles in, it does more damage than any wrinkle or gray hair ever could. Because a man doesn't become invisible when he ages. He becomes invisible when he believes he no longer matters. This is the real tragedy, not the passage of time, not the changing of generations, but the internal surrender, when a man lays down the best parts of himself because he was told they were no longer valuable. But let me tell you the truth. Society may change, trends may change, technology may change, but the need for strength, wisdom, resilience, that need never fades. A man who has lived through betrayal, hardship, failure, and still carries himself with dignity. A man who has seen dreams rise and fall, and yet still wakes each day with purpose. That man is not obsolete. That man is irreplaceable. Yet far too many men accept the counterfeit truth sold to them, that their role is finished, that their energy is unwanted, that their voice should grow quieter until it disappears. If you have ever felt this creeping belief gnawing at the edges of your mind, if you have ever wondered whether the world has left you behind, pause right here, right now, and subscribe. Because the world may not shout it from the rooftops, but what you carry inside you is more valuable now than it has ever been. And the world, the real world, the world beneath the noise, still recognizes and hungers for what you offer. Number 4, the tragedy of forgotten strength. The real tragedy facing many older men today isn't physical aging. It isn't the wrinkles around their eyes, the slower stride, or the graying hair. No, the true tragedy is far more silent and far more devastating. It is the slow forgetting of their own strength. Strength, you see, is not simply about muscle or energy. It is about resilience. It is about the invisible armor forged through years of hardship, perseverance, sacrifice, and endurance. It is about the battles fought in silence, the ones no one else even saw. But when a man begins to see himself through the distorted mirror society holds up to him, when he accepts the false belief that he is past his prime, irrelevant, or simply taking up space, he does something heartbreaking. He shrinks. He dims. He stops standing tall in the presence of life. Instead of carrying his scars like badges of honor, he hides them. Instead of speaking with the quiet authority of a man who has survived, he silences himself. Instead of mentoring, leading, or guiding, he steps back, fading like a shadow at dusk. And so the world, seeing him retreat, assumes he has nothing left to give. But it's not true. It was never true. A man's real power isn't in competing with the young. It isn't in chasing after lost youth. It is standing rooted like an ancient oak, unshaken by the passing winds, offering shade and shelter to those still finding their way. Younger men may have the energy of spring, but the older man holds the wisdom of winter, the understanding of seasons, the knowledge that storms come and go, but those who are steady endure. And women, especially younger women, recognize this at a level deeper than words. They feel the difference between a man who carries regret like a burden and a man who carries experience like a crown. A man broken by life draws pity, but a man tempered by life commands respect. When an older man loses himself to bitterness, regret, and self-pity, he erases his own presence from the world. But when he chooses to stand firm, to wear his experiences proudly, to engage with life boldly, he remains magnetic. Not because he is trying to be young again, but because he embodies something rarer than youth: depth. If you have ever felt the weight of years pressing down on you, if you have ever wondered whether your best moments are behind you, hear this: your strength is not gone. It has simply been waiting. Waiting for you to remember it. Waiting for you to step back into it. Because the world doesn't need you to step aside. It needs you to step forward. Number 5, why some men still command respect. In every room, no matter how crowded, there is always a certain kind of man who draws attention without even trying. Not because he's the loudest, not because he's flashing symbols of success, but because he carries something deeper, an invisible weight of presence, earned through years of living with intention. He may sit quietly at the back of the room. He may say little, but when he speaks, people listen. But not out of obligation, but out of instinct. Because true respect is not demanded. It's not begged for. It's commanded, silently, powerfully, by the way a man carries himself through the world. What separates these men from the countless others who drift into the background? It's not luck. It's not even just an achievement. It's the relentless decision to stay engaged with life, to never stop learning, never stop growing, never stop leading, no matter how many birthdays pass. It's the quiet discipline to cultivate wisdom, not bitterness. It's the courage to stay open, to continue building, while others surrender to cynicism and decay. These men have faced what others fear: failure, loss, betrayal, loneliness. And yet they have emerged not smaller, but larger, because they chose to rise instead of retreat. Their presence speaks without needing words. I have been tested. I have been broken and rebuilt. And I am still standing, stronger, wiser, calmer. Younger men feel it. Younger women sense it. Even those who cannot explain it will instinctively respect it. In a world increasingly adrift, a man who knows where he stands becomes a lighthouse. He does not shout for attention. He does not chase approval. He simply is, steady, certain, unshakable. And this, more than anything else, is what commands true respect. If you aspire to be this kind of man, or if you know you are already on this path but sometimes forget your own power, take a moment to subscribe now, because the journey of a strong man is never over. It only deepens with time. And here, you will find the reminders you need to stay anchored when the storms come. Number 6, what that smile truly means now. Let's return to that smile, that simple, fleeting moment that so many older men overlook. It happens in an instant. A glance across a cafe, a moment at the grocery store, a shared second in a crowded street. Many men, conditioned by a culture that undervalues age, dismiss it immediately. She's just being polite, they think. It means nothing. But the truth is, it means everything. That smile is not random. It is not meaningless. It is an unconscious recognition, a subtle salute to something rare in today's world: stability, presence, wisdom, strength. A younger woman's smile toward an older man is often a silent acknowledgement that says, "I see in you something I don't often find. I feel safer, more grounded, simply by being near your calm. You remind me that not all things good and strong are new. Some are built slowly, patiently over time." It's not about romantic attraction, though in some cases that can exist. More often, it's about something deeper. An instinctive response to a man who has proven, through decades of living, that he will not break easily, that he has seen darkness and did not lose his light, that he holds his experiences not as burdens, but as treasures. And here's what many older men miss. When they dismiss that smile, they dismiss their own power. They overlook the profound impact they still have, simply by being who they are. A man who walks tall with quiet confidence, who doesn't chase attention but radiates certainty, draws the kind of respect that cannot be manufactured. It is not loud. It does not seek approval. It simply is. In a chaotic, fast-moving world, such presence stands out like a steady flame in the wind. That smile is not pity. It is not mockery. It is not empty politeness. It is a tribute, however small, however fleeting, to the enduring value of a man who has truly lived and still stands. Number 7, the power of a man who refuses to fade. There is a quiet, unstoppable power in a man who refuses to disappear. A man who, despite the whispers of society, despite the shifting tides of culture, plants his feet firmly on the ground and says, without speaking, "I am still here, and I still matter." It is not about clinging to the past. It is not about pretending to be younger than he is. It is about honoring the life he has lived. Every battle, every heartbreak, every hard-earned lesson, and carrying it with quiet pride. A man like this doesn't seek permission to exist. He does not ask for validation. He does not measure his worth by how many people applaud him. Instead, he measures it by something far stronger, by the truth he knows inside himself. He knows that life is not measured in the number of days spent chasing approval, but in the depths of character, carved by the way he faced adversity, by the grace with which he carried burdens heavier than most could imagine, by the unwavering spirit that chose, time and again, to rise when it would have been easier to fall. When a man lives this way, he becomes a force of nature, calm, steady, immovable. Not because he is unscarred, but because he is undefeated. And in a world starved for true examples of strength and dignity, this kind of man is more magnetic than ever. Younger men look up to him, searching for direction they have never been taught. Younger women respect him, sensing a stability they rarely find elsewhere. Even those who do not understand him fully cannot help but feel the gravity of his presence. Because true strength, true masculinity, is timeless. If you're hearing this and something inside you stirs, if you feel the embers of your own power reigniting, remember this: you were never meant to fade. You were meant to become unstoppable. And the world, whether it knows it or not, is better because you are still here. If there's one thing I want you to take away from everything we've shared today, it's this: You are not a relic of the past. You are a foundation for the future. The world may not always say it out loud. It may not always celebrate you with flashing lights and loud applause. But deep down, in quiet moments, in small smiles, in the silent respect you sometimes feel but cannot quite name, the world still needs you. Your strength, your wisdom, your presence. These are not things that fade with time. They are things that become richer, deeper, and more vital the longer they are carried. You are not meant to shrink into the shadows. You are meant to stand tall, a living testament to what perseverance, character, and dignity look like when shaped over a lifetime. Younger men need your example, even if they don't always know how to ask for it. Younger women notice your steadiness, even if they can't always explain why they respect it. The world needs lighthouses, men who have weathered the storms and still choose to shine. So do not fade, do not retreat, and above all, do not forget who you are. You are still needed, more than you know, perhaps now more than ever. Thank you for walking this journey with me today. And if this message spoke to something deep inside you, if you believe the world still needs strong men who have lived, endured, and refused to be broken, then please subscribe, not just to this channel, but to a life that honors the strength you have built, because the world needs your light, and it's time to let it shine.